The hospital room felt sterile and cold, filled with the mechanical hum of machines that had become Sarah's constant companions over the past 6 months. At 28, she had been vibrant, full of dreams and aspirations. Now confined to a wheelchair with limited mobility from a devastating car accident, she stared out the window at a world that seemed to move on without her. Am I still human? She whispered to herself one evening, her voice barely audible above the steady beep of monitors. The question had haunted her for weeks. She felt disconnected from her former self, dependent on others for basic needs, her body no longer responding as it once did. The woman she used to be felt like a distant memory. Her family tried their best to encourage her, but Sarah could see the pity in their eyes. Friends visited less frequently now, their conversations awkward and strained. She understood why. What do you say to someone whose life has been so dramatically altered? How do you relate to someone who can no longer do the simple things that define daily existence? It was during one particularly dark evening that Maria, an elderly Apache woman who worked as a night custodian at the hospital, knocked softly on Sarah's door. Maria had been cleaning the floors in Sarah's wing for over 20 years, and she had witnessed countless stories of human resilience and despair. Something about Sarah's quiet suffering had touched her heart. "May I come in?" Maria asked gently. Her weathered hands still holding the mop she had been using. Sarah nodded, grateful for any distraction from her spiraling thoughts. Maria entered slowly, her presence filling the room with an unexpected warmth. She had kind eyes that seemed to hold decades of wisdom, and her silver hair was braided in a traditional style that spoke of her heritage. Without asking permission, she pulled up the visitor's chair and sat down beside Sarah's bed. "I have been watching you," Maria said softly, her voice carrying a slight accent that reflected her Apache roots. Not in a bad way, but with the eyes of someone who recognizes pain. Sarah felt tears welling up in her eyes. "I don't know who I am anymore," she admitted. "Everything that made me me is gone. I can't walk. I can't work. I can't even take care of myself. Sometimes I wonder if I'm still really human." Maria was quiet for a long moment, studying Sarah's face with compassionate attention. Then she began to speak, her voice taking on the rhythm of someone sharing an ancient truth. "Let me tell you about my grandfather," Maria began. "His name was Joseph Running Bear, and he was born in 1892 on the San Carlos Apache Reservation. When he was young, strong, and proud, he believed that being human meant being able to hunt, to provide for his family, to protect his people. He measured his worth by the strength of his body and the speed of his horse." Sarah listened intently, drawn in by the gentle cadence of Maria's storytelling. "When my grandfather was 45 years old, he was thrown from his horse while tracking a wounded deer. The fall crushed his spine, and he never walked again. For months, he lay in his bed, angry at the world, angry at the spirits, angry at himself. Like you, he wondered if he was still human." Maria paused, her fingers tracing patterns on the arm of her chair as if drawing strength from an invisible source. "But our tribal elder, a man named Samuel Windwalker, came to visit him. This elder was nearly 90 years old, blind, and could barely speak above a whisper. He sat beside my grandfather's bed and said something that changed everything." "What did he say?" Sarah asked, leaning forward despite herself. Maria's eyes grew distant, as if she were channeling the words across generations. "He said, 'Joseph, you think being human is about what your body can do. But listen to me carefully. Being human is not about having perfect legs or perfect eyes or perfect anything. Being human is about the capacity to love, to feel compassion, to touch another soul with kindness. Being human is about the stories we carry, the wisdom we share, and the way we help others find their path when they are lost." Sarah felt something shift inside her chest. a small crack in the wall of despair she had built around herself. Maria continued, "The elder told my grandfather, 'Your legs may not work, but your heart still beats with the rhythm of our ancestors.'